everyone, welcome to another book review. I know it has been a long time since I made a book review, but for this one we are going to talk about The Perfect Wife by J.P. Delaney. So since I started reading again, like reading fiction books, nonfiction, and other stuff, I tend to try other authors than the comfort authors that I used to read before. So this one, J.P. Delaney, this is the first book that I have read from this author. So I wanted to read you first the synopsis of this one, so you could have at least some know about the story before I do the review. So The Perfect Wife, Abby wakes in a hospital bed with no memory of how she got there. By her side is her husband Tim, the driven British founder of one of the world's most groundbreaking tech companies. They met when she joined his startup as artist in residence. Their marriage, a Silicon Valley fairy tale, but as Abby's memories return, she realizes there's something missing from Tim's version of events, because 5 years ago, Abby Cullen Scott was pronounced dead. So this is really like a suspense thriller, and it delves more on the tech company side, like the robotics and AI. So the setting of this one is much more near to the present than futuristic, but yeah, it's more on in between. And the good thing with this book is we understand this more because we are in this generation or in this time that we understand more on artificial intelligence and robotics and stuff, and that is why I think this book is, a little bit relatable. Yeah. So let's start with Abby. So Abby is an artist, and she was initially hired by Tim, who will become her husband. Tim is the founder of, like as mentioned, a groundbreaking tech company, more on robotics and artificial intelligence. So on the first part, so since this is a review, and I'll try not to put spoilers so that you will also enjoy this book. I started this one earlier December, and since we have a lot more time on December because holidays and stuff, this is one of the books that I cannot put down. So I believe 80% I have done reading, 80%, and then the 20% is I have just finished it like last week. If you also know me, I tend to, there are two major things that makes me delay reading the ending of the book. One is it's a good book, so I don't want to end it, and the other one is I lost interest. So this book is like in between. So it's like I've read 80% with no problem. The writing is very good. I can understand it, and it's something like an author is really expert in what he or she does. Sorry, I forgot if JP is a boy or a girl. And yeah, but the twists and turns, definitely like the ending. Even if I have, succumbed to this book, I cannot figure out or I cannot predict the ending, so I don't want to spoil it. But technically the story, the first part is it delves on the story or the romance between Tim and Abby, and of course their difference in personalities and how they got married, and how they made Danny their son. I mean, not they made, but how they end up having Danny as their son. And the conflict starts, or their problem started when they discovered that Danny was not speaking on the age that was supposed to be, already speaking and understanding or do communication with adults. So they discovered that Danny has special needs. Yeah. So Danny is a special child, and so they have different methods in learning more about Danny's case. And so Tim wanted to have like a more firm and strict way of fixing Danny, while Abby is more on as a mother, so she wanted to be nurturing, and she wanted Danny to discover and learn like the pace that Danny is able to do, and not on, you know, putting pressure or putting, you know, strict punishments for him to learn, you know, communication and communicating stuff and doing like normal things in class. And yeah, I think that's the main thing on this one, is it wasn't because of Danny. And so in the beginning part is we discovered that Abby, like Tim, made another Abby, like a robot, but this is based on Abby's digital footprint. So so we see the point of view of Abby, the robot, and not like the original, the human Abby. But we can also see how she delves deeper into finding out what happened to the original or the human Abby, whether she was murdered, or as what Tim mentioned, is whether she, you know, ends herself. But yeah, as the things go, you cannot really see how it ends. So that's the good thing on this book, is it gives you little evidences and little things for you to deduce. But at the end, for me, it was still a shocking plot twist. So it's like a plot twist on plot twist. So that's the good thing with this book. So if out of 5, I'm gonna rate this around 3.8. Sige, let's try. Let's rate this book a 3.8. Just because this is not like the type of book that I read, but the good thing is I finished this book. So that means it is a good book. And yeah, it made me want to read more thriller books. And yeah, since I read, like, I fully finished a fantasy, romance, Ghibli, a whimsical fantasy book. So this is like a different flavor of yeah, a different genre. So this is a good book if you wanted to try thriller, suspense thriller. So definitely give JP Delaney a chance. And yeah, so JP Delaney is also the author of The Girl Before and Believe Me and Playing Nice. So the good with Perfect Wife, The Perfect Wife, it makes you think whether having like the advanced technology of robots and artificial intelligence, whether if it is really good for mankind or not, and how companies will use it, either, you know, maybe against humanity or pro humanity. So you be the judge. Try The Perfect Wife by JP Delaney. Till the next review. Bye bye.